Alright, this is my first render test of the official release of the Blender 3.0 with CyclesX. I have this interior scene that I have created, and it's a pretty heavy scene with like 2.8 something. It takes really about 5 minutes at minimum to get any kind of a decent render. Alright, and you can see right here I got it set to optics, and I have an NVIDIA RTX 3060 selected. I have it set to 1024, and yes, I am using noise threshold, or basically adaptive sampling. But we'll see how quickly this renders. Render image. And being that it is using adaptive sampling, the number of samples right here should basically start increasing more rapidly at some point. Now, my screen capture should be consuming a little bit of the GPU's power, but it shouldn't account for no more than just a few seconds. I did this earlier as a test, and it took 57 seconds, but that was without the screen capture running. So I'm assuming that this is going to take in the ballpark of just over a minute. See how it rapidly took off? It started going through the samples. That's because of this adaptive sampling. Now, 0.1, that's a little high as far as the noise, but it still produces a decent render. So, there you go. 1 minute and 2 seconds, and that's with screen capture on. Now, if I was to set this to, let's say, 0.05, it will take longer because the amount of noise that it can accept is less than before. So it will have to render it longer, and in this case I'm still keeping the minimum samples count to 128 and the maximum set to 124, but I'm guessing it should take roughly 2 minutes, but I have not tried this yet. But I'm assuming setting this to 0.05 versus 0.1, that's half as much noise as far as the threshold goes, so I'm assuming it's going to take roughly twice as long. But I'm not 100% sure. I haven't played around with this threshold that much. I mostly just keep this set to 0 normally, but it defaults to 0.1, so I left it at its default setting initially. Alright, you can see we're already up to 55 seconds. And you can see it didn't start counting up as quickly right away. It's already up to a little over 1 minute. I'm assuming when this gets to about 250, it should start speeding up. That's my guess. Yeah, it's starting to speed up a little bit, but not as quickly as it did before. Because some portions of the scene have reached that 0.05 threshold, while other portions haven't. But you can see it's really starting to pick up now. And like I said, I'm guessing around 2 minutes, and that looks like it's going to be fairly accurate. Probably just under 2 minutes. Alright, I should have changed slots so we could compare the two. But say 1 minute 56 seconds. So yeah, I like this new CyclesX. And I'm glad to see the official Blender 3.0 get released. It was released about 10 o'clock this morning, and the website's been slow ever since. I guess that's because a lot of people trying to download. But I guess that's it. Later, people.